Welcome to the commentary booth, where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play by play commentator, Jamie Apps. Each week, I'm joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week, I'm joined by a freelance social commentator who lists their favourite movie as American Psycho and favourite TV show as Peaky Blinders. Welcome back to the show, Blake Robinson.
Hello, Jamie.
How's life treating you?
It's coming at me hard and fast.
Did you watch United this morning or last night?
No. I went to bed at halftime. It's seen
Yes,
enough.
so did I. And then woke up and didn't like the
Yeah, I was.
result.
I don't know. It had draw written all over it, but then, in the end, it should have been a draw. Really,
Yeah. At least you guys should have got the draw. We
let's just hope Ole doesn't make that mistake again and starts letting the king of penalties, Ronaldo,
yeah.
take penalties.
Why
I
was
don't
like
know.
I get that Bruno hasn't missed one until now, but
But we're dealing with Ronaldo here. Here's your other option. So I think everything else out the window.
yeah, Ronaldo's like next level penalty taker. So surely he's just
But it's a good start to the season all around. It's looking good.
yeah. It looks a lot more competitive than the last few
I'm
years.
liking it. Brentford, if you don't mind. Bit of Brighton, if they win, they're on top of the table.
Oh
Off
wow,
Barry.
I didn't realize they were doing that well. Jesus.
Yeah, I think they play on Tuesday. If they win, they're on top.
Wow.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
they can go to the top.
Up until last night, I saw Chelsea and Liverpool had played five and had five exact matching results in those first 5 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Each week was the exact same result until last
When's the relegation battle? Arsenal, Tottenham.
night. Yeah, poor Arsenal. They're,
Jeez, things you'd love to see. Imagine them two getting
I would love to see Arsenal get
oh,
tossed, but I also wouldn't like to deal with the sadness of Buddy for the next 12
oh yeah, that's
months.
true.
He would just,
Oh, at least you wouldn't have to worry about the Prem.
yeah, true.
One less thing.
And then they could, like, be the happy, just dominate the next division down, hopefully.
Yeah, at least you get some glory. Like, you can't knock winning form if like horse racing. If you're winning races, it doesn't matter what races you're winning. If you're winning, you're winning.
Yep.
If you're winning football matches, you win football matches. I don't care what league it's in.
Yeah. Although like, it's funny the relegation battle. Like teams go down and then they generally bounce straight back up. But then like
Yeah,
every now and then you'll have a team that goes down and then just keeps going down. You're like, oh
it's just
wow,
a humble wake up call. Whereas you got, I think Swansea, they were up for years, and now they're just struggling to get back up.
yeah,
Teams like that.
yeah.
But Newcastle's one of them. They're up and down, up and down.
Yeah, that's got to be so weird for those fans. Like, oh, we won this year. Oh, now we're getting just pumped the next year.
It's a roller coaster. I still think we should change one of our major competitions to that sort of setup. Like, I don't know. It's hard though with like AFL and NRL the way the comps are set up.
Oh yeah, I'd
Whereas
love to see relegation
yeah,
brought in.
they have I don't know, I'm trying to find an example here. Like Dragons, like if they got relegated, they're gonna have they'll essentially have Dragons playing Dragons like some weeks in reserve grade if they do that because
Yep.
yeah, because it's not all feeder clubs. Like some teams actually do have a reserve grade.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
cool though.
I don't know. I'd love to see it. I think the A League probably has the best chance of doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
But
I would love to see it
A-League's
brought in
coming
at
up.
some point. They just
Yeah,
keep
it's
adding
different.
teams to the main comp though, which makes
No, I'm interested to see what's
relegation
happening to
hard.
NRL.
Oh yeah,
With your Brisbane team, that'd be good.
yeah, that'll be an interesting situation. Who are you tipping for
Yeah.
the grand final next week?
I despise the Penrith Panthers with a passion. I despise Jerome Little. I despise Nathan Cleary. No, I've been talking up Rabbitohs for months. Just a little small brag there. But I honestly didn't think they'd get this far now after they lost the troll. But
Yep.
yeah, I'm all aboard South Sydney. Be good to see Wayne Bennett do it for another team, another club. Obviously Benji Marshall. I think everyone's rooting for Benji Marshall. Last game of his career, by the looks of it. And 16 years since the 2005 grand final.
Yep.
It's gonna be good. And I love Adam Raddles, man. I find it hard to hate him. He's such a good fullback. Halfback, sorry. Just a
Yeah.
good
That.
player of the game. He's a
But
student of the game, and it'd be good to see him get a ring before he ends his career at Brisbane.
yeah, I think Benji getting a championship in the last game would be
Oh,
like the ultimate
this,
fairy tale story for the season.
the scenes at full time in the prelim the other night, that was amazing. Very much. Good to see. He deserves it. He deserves another shot because we couldn't give it to him
Yep.
again.
And did you watch the AFL grand final
I
last night?
absolutely watched the AFL grand final. That was incredible. Amazing game. If you told me the end result at halftime, we laughed it off. That was such a dominant second quarter by the Bulldogs. I thought no way Melbourne were going to come back from that. I think
What
Marcus Bontempelli had the Norm Smith pretty much wrapped up at halftime. Yeah, I think will happen. I think they kicked 12 goals. Melbourne. Insane.
What did you think of the having the grand final in Perth? Did it
I
take it
actually
away, take away anything?
I spoke about this in a group chat last night. I am a big fan of the travelling. Like we got a lot of it this year with State of Origin. How good was State of Origin in Townsville? For
Mm.
starters, I'm all about moving big games around, giving other cities opportunity. It's something good to see what sold out Suncorp Stadium next weekend for the NRL Grand Final. They deserve one. It shouldn't be at the same place every year. I'm big on tradition and things like that, but in certain aspects, but just the fact that they even thought about having the grand final at the MCG in front of no fans is just unthinkable. Optus Stadium last night, 60,000 people is incredible.
Yeah, no, that
And I
Optus
hope this
Stadium
opens
is an
doors. Oh, it's
incredible
amazing, that
stadium.
place.
Like that's
It's amazing.
that's one of those like stadiums that I really want to go to just
Yeah,
because.
Sam, I need to get over there watch an Eagles game. But yeah, I hope this opens pathways for sports to like just put tradition aside and start moving around the big games.
Yeah,
Like
I guess when like
it's obviously hard
when
with
the
like
when the
ticket
world
sales and
is
corporate. Like, I know all the money side of things behind it.
when the world is normal, like I get the MCG is like the
Oh, there's
home
nothing
of
like it on grand final
AFL,
day.
and
105,000 there on
it's
grand final
huge.
day. It's
Like
not. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah,
it
the
just
NR
wouldn't be sustainable long term with ticket sales and money. Let's
yeah
just say that they definitely would have noticed a difference. Last night only selling half as many tickets as what they normally would. But it's been a good spectacle this year. Yeah, like I said, Origin at Townsville looks sick.
yeah. I think
I reckon we will get a grand
Origin
final
should be one of those ones that
Bankwest
moves
eventually.
around.
Yeah, for sure. Where else did they have games? They won it. Is it just what they had one at Suncorp? Was there one in Townsville? Where was the other one?
Was the last one in the Gold
Was there
Coast?
two? Yeah, it might have been actually. That's a good stadium too. Yeah, but I think Bankwest deserves one. That place is amazing to watch rugby league.
Yeah, like
But then,
I think
I think we're a bit limited with mid-tier like capacity stadiums like that.
yeah, that's the other big issue. But I think
Like, there's a big gap.
the state of origin really is one of those ones that yeah they should be.
Yeah, State of Origin should be for sure.
It
It's been
should
cool to watch prelims and like finals matches in like Rockhampton and Mackay and places like that. It's been cool.
yeah, and yeah, like the final series that should be like put that in the
Sure,
regional areas and give those
because even
regional
finals
areas big
they don't like
crowds,
playing at home
big
grounds.
events.
I remember when like teams like Cronulla when they were playing finals, they got made to play there because they can sell more tickets.
Yeah, when we went on that premiership run, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
like they
think we
couldn't even
played any games at Shark Park. We played them all at
like
like the
in
SFS because they were
AFL
bigger.
they even tried to make Geelong play home finals at the MCG. Like it's not a home game. It's like an hour's drive up the
Yeah,
road.
it's a it's
And
like having
Geelong
the
is so
Gold
hard to
Coast
beat.
play at
It's such a
Suncorp.
significant advantage change because like Geelong are one of those teams that are like really hard to beat at home.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just hope this opens some sort of can of worms for future and travel big games. I
Yep.
think people deserve it. See, Perth turned out last night, and they doubted them.
Yeah, I think because there was no
Put on a good show.
WA teams, people were like, "Oh, this is going to suck." But
Yeah, it was a good show. Enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a sick game. Game for this weekend.
yep. And then overnight, there was some big sort of Netflix news as well. They held their, I'm not sure why they called it this, but the Tadum event. Uh, Basically, their like showcase event to unveil the next basically year's worth of, or 6 months to a year's worth of content.
Yeah.
And there was some pretty cool things announced on there. Have you had a chance to look at any of the reveals?
No, but I googled about 3 or 4 of them while standing in line at Subway just earlier.
Yep. Yeah,
Run me
so
through it.
there was the big ones for me were obviously the one that's most imminent. I think is the most imminent. No, there's a few in October as well. There's one in November called Red Notice. It's an upcoming movie starring The Rock, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds
This
all
I
together.
did look. I
Looks
did look at
so
this one.
good. Looks very
I
good.
I can rally behind Gal Gadot.
Yeah, so I like the trailer doesn't really reveal much. It's just it seems like Gal is the bad person. The Rock and Ryan Reynolds are like this buddy duo where The Rock's this full serious guy and Ryan Reynolds is just there to add comedy and be a fool. They all
Oh,
feel
so it
like
is funny.
they all feel like they're playing like their major characters. Like The Rock is playing just The Rock as himself, basically.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot feels like
Realistically, when doesn't he? When doesn't The Rock play The Rock? He's
true.
never really in character, is he? He's always The Rock.
Yep. Gal Gadot feels like she's basically just evil Wonder Woman, and then Ryan Reynolds just is Deadpool without the costume.
Yeah, sounds fun.
So that looks fun. That's out on November 12th. Then they dropped the trailer for season 4 of Ozark, which full on trailer like kicks off from where the season ended off. Uh, the season next year, it's coming next year, season 4, but it's split into 2 parts. So I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's going to be like 4 or 5 episodes per part. And they didn't give us a firm date. They just said 2022. So that's coming up.
Is
Excited for
Ozark
that one.
Netflix? Is it? I've never watched it. Didn't realize it was
Bro,
on Netflix.
watch it. It is so,
Yeah,
so good.
yeah, I've got some mates who always talk about it. It's just one of those ones I've never made the time for.
Yeah, you've probably got about 3 or 4 months to catch up on 3 seasons
Yeah.
worth. It's definitely worth it.
Yep.
Then the next one is called Genius, spelled Jeenyuhs, and this is a documentary about Mos Def and Kanye West.
Are you kidding?
No, it looks awesome. The trailer that they showed is just Mos
Let me
Def
Google
and
this.
Kanye doing a like ad lib rap together, and I was like,
Give
"Yep,
us a
I'm
spell check.
I'm all in." Jeenyuhs.
Yep. Yeah, right.
And yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, yep, I'm all in for that." But they didn't give us a date, so
Oh, this could take forever then. By the looks of
I'm I'm
it.
knowing Kanye, we might not get this for
Yeah,
like 4 years.
2022.
Depends if he has control over the final product or not, or if someone else is just doing it.
Hopefully, he doesn't have control over it. But
Mm,
lucky we got.
the album when we did.
Mm.
Then we had Bridgerton season 2. That's coming next year. Not really my thing. I thought maybe
Yep.
you kind of like those weird period drama things.
Yeah, I do actually. I actually haven't watched Bridgerton, but yeah, that's right. It is right up my alley.
Then we've got a new show called The Sandman, which is like a horror supernatural series that
Yeah,
focuses
I did
on
look at that one.
summoning and imprisoning death. They didn't give us a date, but it looks really cool.
Yep.
Keen for that one. Cobra Kai season 4, that's hitting us on December 31st, which I love that show and I cannot wait for that season. Extraction 2. So this is the sequel to Chris Hemsworth's 2020 action hero movie that was on Netflix. And turns out his character didn't die, so Tyler Rake lives, and that's their whole marketing behind it. It was just like Tyler Rake lives. I was like, okay, cool, I'm in. No date, but first one was cool.
Is that a big
Uh,
spoiler? That sounds like it would be a spoiler.
Not really. It's probably a spoiler that he lives.
But as far as spoilers goes, if it's been out long enough that you've had ample time to watch it, I'm
And
spilling beans
yeah,
on
and
everything.
now Netflix is like, hey, it's coming back.
Yeah,
He's not dead. I think they've taken the hit
yeah.
on that spoiler. Then they had a animated show called Arcane, which I didn't really know anything about until I watched the trailer, and I was like, oh, that animated style is really cool. It's kind of like cell shaded 3D. It's from the creators of the video game League of Legends. So I don't know how much I'll enjoy it. Like, I'm not a League of Legends fan, but I'll give it a shot purely based on how cool it looked in terms of the animation. Then the big one, the show that kicked off the commentary booth, episode 1, Tiger King, number 2.
Mate, I've I've caught wind of this, and I'm excited. I'm excited.
Where I was like, what?
It's
How are
looking,
we getting more Tiger
yeah.
King? What?
I heard. I was watching the Today Show the other morning, and I seen it. I was like, "What is this?" You
Yeah,
have
so
my full attention,
that's arriving on November 17th. So we'll be
man. It
definitely
feels like
definitely
that
checking
came
that one
out
out.
4 years ago.
Yep.
It's probably due for another watch. Tiger King. It was proper good.
Yeah, I actually recently started rewatching it with Lauren because she hadn't actually
Oh,
seen
you
it. So I was
did,
like, oh,
yeah,
perfect timing. Didn't even know there was a second one
100%.
coming.
Yeah, that's mad. I'm gonna get into it. Yeah, that's good timing.
Then the next big one is something I think a lot of people have been clamoring for. They're doing a live action version of Cowboy Bebop, the Japanese anime show. It's all about
Unfamiliar.
it's like a futuristic show set in the year 2071, and it's all about a group of traveling bounty hunters,
Yeah, right.
and just like
Does it sounds like Does it
super
sound like something
stylized.
Tarantino would write?
Yeah, it's like super stylized. The trailer was really cool, so I'm keen to check that one out. That's November 17th. November is packed. We've got the Arcane November 6th, Cowboy Bebop, Tiger King November 17th, Cowboy Bebop November 19th. So if you haven't got Netflix, I think November's probably the month to drop a little
Who doesn't
subscription
have
there.
Netflix? Name name and shame. Show your face. Who doesn't have Netflix?
And
My
then,
TV remote even has Netflix.
oh yeah, all of them have just like a Netflix button on them now. And half the time, if
Yeah,
you buy a new TV, you get like, hey, here's 6 months of Netflix just
yeah.
because you bought a TV.
Take it. Hey,
It's
speaking
either
of trailers, I actually seen a couple. My Little Pony.
what?
Have you? No, oh, wait, there's a there's a My Little Pony movie coming out. Hear me out here. It is it's a bit of fun. It's for all ages. It's like an animation. Our our man Mr. Chow from The Hangover is one of the main characters. He does the voices for it. It just looks
Okay.
it looks lit. No, it looks very good. Yeah, actually I seen it and I was like, no, I'm gonna give this my full attention and I'm actually a bit excited to see it.
Okay.
It's
So,
not what you think. It's not like a little like girly one. It's actually a bit of fun.
all right. I want future
Yeah,
episode of the commentary booth. Blake Robinson reviews
I'm gonna
My
review the
Little
My Little Pony.
Pony and Dora the Explorer. The
I'm
Dora
actually
movie as
gonna go
well.
to if it comes out in the movies and the movies are open, I'm gonna go watch it.
You're gonna be like the only adult man there that
The
doesn't
9
have a
a.m.
little
session.
that doesn't have a daughter.
I'm got I've got I've got so many friends at the moment having kids. I'm gonna have to do some borrowing.
Yeah, just borrow someone's kid so you don't look weird.
Godfather duties for the day. I'm gonna watch the My Little Pony movie. No, it looks sick. And another trailer I seen. The Humans. Are you familiar?
No?
It stars Richard Jenkins. He's like from Step Brothers fame, like the father from Step Brothers, Dear
Okay.
John. It's got Amy Schumer in it too. Yeah, it's just this really humble sort of typical American family the trailer doesn't give away much, but it just seems very wholesome. I think an A24 production.
Oh, love
Yeah,
A24
just a
stuff.
bit of a suspenseful, really emotional piece. Looks good. Looks So that's on my list of stuff to see. Richard Jenkins, just always plays a powerful character. Like, always a similar sort of like older father figure or grandfather that's sort of sick. I think it's the same sort of vibe in this as well.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So that was cool. I was
Uh,
saying, yeah, that's what I was saying on the trailer front. And I nearly watched the whole trailer. A lot of trailers these days that give away the whole movie. So if I like something, I just stop halfway. Boom, I've seen enough. I'm gonna wait.
yep.
If
That's
you watch it, yeah, you watch full trailers, you're gonna ruin the movie for yourself. A
yeah. I
lot of
think
movies are like that.
that's sort of why I like this Netflix thing. All the trailers were like, I think the longest was 3 minutes, but most of
Yeah,
them were
it's
like
excessive.
a minute and a half. They just
Just
were
give me a
enough to get you
50-second.
excited, and that was it.
Give me a 50-second teaser.
Yep.
Just let me know if I want to see it or not. Then boom. But yeah, some movies I've watched the trailer and it's completely ruined it. The
Mm-hmm.
whole movie for me. It's like, oh, and you can tell too, like, oh, this is giving away too much.
They're showing me a lot here.
I need more trailers like the Hereditary trailer. That is one of the all-time put together trailers.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just haunting,
Freaky
chilling.
gives you enough, but
That's where
not.
it gave me night. That's where the trailer gave me nightmares. But I love just going back and watching it. It's chilling. The trailer, just like the movie. So some are put together really well.
And then the rest of the event, Netflix had The Crown season 5. We're getting a brand new actress to play Queen Elizabeth.
Wish
Uh,
I watched The Crown. It's just too much to go back and watch. I've
yeah,
heard it's
it's.
incredible.
I started watching it and actually really enjoyed it, but yeah, it's a lot. Like I think they're like
Isn't there? There's a
six.
New Diana movie coming out. The Kristen Stewart plays Diana.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
I'm
it's
not.
set. What is it? It's like set over a weekend in over Christmas one year
Uh, I'm not too sure
in
about
the
it. I
nineties. I
know
think
she's
that's what it is.
playing. Yeah, I'm
Plays a pretty
excited to
good
see it. I don't know
Diana
when it's
too,
coming
from
though.
what I've seen. She's become very versatile, hasn't she? Kristen Stewart. She's played some roles recently that are just really impressed.
Yep,
Because where was she? She Twilight originally?
I think so.
Is that
Yeah,
where she got big from? Yeah, early days.
and then yeah, now she's gone on to do like proper serious roles and stuff.
Now look at
Just
Robert Pattinson. He's
as bloody Batman.
he's bloody Batman, which still isn't out, is it?
No, I don't know when that's coming.
I want to see the Colin Farrell Penguin.
Yeah,
Give
that'd
me
be cool.
that. Penguin's a sick character.
Then we've got Army of Thieves, the prequel movie to this year's Army of the Dead, which starred Dave Bautista, and it was all just like this zombie heist movie in Vegas. So I'm
Yeah. So
interested to see
they got a prequel, do they?
the prequel to that. We got a show called Colin in Black and White, which is a limited series about the life and career of Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's obviously going to cut.
Who's done this?
Just Netflix, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll obviously dive into all the racial issues, especially like
Yeah, I'm
given
sure
what the
it'd be one
trailer
big
explains. That's what it's all about.
yeah, it'd be one big advertisement for sure.
So that'd be interesting. Then we got another
Very interesting.
animated series called Inside Job, and this one felt very much like a American Dad style adult over the top crazy comedy about a secret underground group who control all of the world's conspiracies.
Yeah.
So it looked hilarious. I was like, oh
That
god,
sounds fun.
animated, but I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in. I watched the trailer. I was like, yep, this is good.
I reckon American Dad's underappreciated.
Oh, very.
Like it's not one that a lot of people watch, but when it's on like Seven Mate, I'll sit down and watch an episode. It's friggin' hilarious. It's
Com-
so good, man. It's like identical to Family Guy, but I think Family Guy is just taking the heat.
oh
American
yeah,
Dad's funny, man.
that's what I was gonna say. Compared to American Dad, it like doesn't get as anywhere near as much recognition, even though it probably should.
Family Guy, it's classic, but
And then the last two were a movie called Don't Look Up, which is about a 5 by 10
yes,
kilometer comet which is barreling towards Earth. And this movie has an incredibly stacked cast. I
I
couldn't
did have a
believe
look.
I couldn't believe how many people are in this, but we get
Jam
Leo,
packed.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Kate Blanchett, Ariana Grande, Timothy Chalamet, Jonah Hill, Chris Evans, Matthew Perry, Kid Cudi, and Ron Perlman. They're just like the main ones that jumped out at me. There was plenty of other names as well.
Sounds like the Met Gala honor roll.
Pretty much. It was insane. I was,
It's they're
whoa.
like, hey, hello everyone here. You want to be in a movie?
And like, obviously, you would think a movie about like an impending comet hitting Earth and just destroying everything would be like really serious and dour in tone,
Mm.
but it's not. This one like injects a lot of comedy into it, where Meryl Streep plays the president, and she's just like,
Really?
"Yep," and she's just like,
That's a
"Nah."
sick role for her.
She's just like, no, let's just sit tight and assess what's going on." And
She'd be a brilliant president.
Leonardo's like this crazy scientist, and he's like, they ask him, "What are the chances of this comet hitting Earth?" And he's like, 100%. She's like, "You sure? Are you sure it's 100%? Can we say 70%?" He's like, "That's not even close." And then someone else, Jennifer Lawrence, pops in and goes, "The actual figure is 99.78%." So, and then Meryl's like, "Okay, sweet. So it's not 100%. Let's just say 70%."
So it's just complete stupidity, really.
Pretty much. And that one's coming on, going to cinemas
That
on
sounds like a
December
lot of
10th.
fun though. So we'll be
Oh,
able to see that.
yeah. Cinemas December
Yeah, I'm
10th.
keen. I'm keen
And
to get back to the
then
movies.
it'll be on Netflix December 24th. So if you don't get to
Yep.
the cinemas in that first 2 weeks, then it'll be there for Christmas Eve watching.
Watching.
And then
When's
the
that
last one
prepping?
was Witcher Season 2. That's coming in also in December, on December 17th. Looks a lot like the original Witcher series, which was like one of those underappreciated game to TV adaptations that I really enjoyed, and I think this one's going to just continue on that vein.
Beauty. Heaps.
Oh, so much! I woke up and I was like, "Holy cow!" They
There's
put
so
out like
much coming out.
30 trailers.
Not even Netflix. There's so much coming out, just everywhere. I don't know where it's coming from. Because I
Yeah,
don't think for the last 12 months or 18 months that Fox Studios, they've really been doing much filming. And all of a sudden we're just getting smashed with stuff. I think people have probably a lot of production companies and studios have probably held off releasing stuff too, I guess.
yeah, I think that's
It's
been the issue.
uncertain
Like
times.
a lot of stuff
Now we're
just
just
got
getting
banked
smashed
up.
with it all. Yeah.
Like I was putting together
Not complaining.
our spreadsheet for things coming up this year, and I was like, I'm gonna have trouble to fit all of this in every week.
It's absolute madness, hey.
I've had to just like limit myself to one series and one movie per episode, because otherwise I'm just never gonna leave the house.
And strictly no watching of old things and rewatching things you've watched. It's
Pretty much.
valuable. It's a valuable 2 hours. You could be watching something new.
Yep. And then when you got to
And
try
then
and
take my own advice on that one.
fit sport and 3
Yeah,
hours of
exactly. Well,
wrestling each week, it's like, oh my god.
well, there's sports slowing right down now.
And then speaking of sport, though, we watched a couple of
Mm.
documentaries
Some
this
of the
week.
best we've watched, let me tell you. There's one I'm very excited to talk about.
Okay, so I don't know which one it's gonna be, but we watched two motorsport documentaries, one on Netflix, one on Stan. For me, they were like eerily similar. So we got
Eerily
Schumacher
similar.
on Netflix, and then we got Senna on Stan. Which one was your
I watched
preferred?
Senna on Apple.
Okay, yep,
The Senna documentary blew me away.
Yep.
It was incredible. Oh my god, it was amazing. It made the Schumacher documentary, which in its own right was incredible, look pedestrian.
yeah, I liked
But yeah, eerily similar.
the Schumacher
The
one,
Senna one
but
just had a lot more substance. I think the Schumacher one had a lot missing. There was a lot of conversational topics and pieces and elephants in the room that weren't mentioned, and they brushed over a lot of things.
Yep.
like you can tell his like estate really ran their eye over it and picked out what they wanted.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, it was incredible though, the Schumacher one.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed both, but yeah, like you said, I think the Senna one was better overall. I think the Schumacher one would have been up on that level if at the very end Schumacher had made his first like public appearance since the skiing accident. But
That's what I was
obvious
thinking. I was
obviously he didn't, so that makes me think he's in a lot worse state than they're letting on.
well, the family interviews at the end they had with his son and daughter and partner. They pretty much told us everything we sort of already knew, that he is alive.
Yep,
He is at home. He's in a wheelchair, but he's completely non-responsive, basically.
yep.
I think that's what we already knew. But yeah, I was honestly, and I thought, well, I hadn't seen online because the second it was released, there would have been articles and news pieces everywhere revealing what the like if he was alive, and it got revealed in the documentary. So I sort of knew like I'd already know about it by now if we were going to actually see footage of him.
Yep.
But yeah, nonetheless, it was pretty moving towards the end, for
Yeah, I think
sure.
when they started interviewing what's his daughter's name?
Yeah,
Where are
so
they?
Gabrielle something.
Yeah, I thought I had it written down, but I didn't. Oh yeah, Gina Maria and Mick, so his daughter and
Yeah,
son,
Mick.
and his wife Karina. But yeah, once they sort of started talking to Mick, that's when I was like, oh yeah, this is really sad that Mick's now making his like F1 debut and
Yeah, I know,
career, and
and
his dad can't be there to support him or be there along for the ride.
it's well, it sounds like they're communicating with him, and they've got like a completely different relationship and life with him now. Like they've got him at home. But I found too, it was a lot like The Last Dance, whereas you didn't have to be a fan of the sport. Obviously, I'm
Yep.
a big F1 fan, so I enjoyed it. But you don't like anyone could sit down and like really enjoy it. He's a household name, and it wasn't really a um,
Yeah, it's not so
fun for the
much
nerds sort
focusing
of.
on the sport. It's about the
No,
man himself and the struggles he had coming up and the rivalries and stuff that he had along the way.
yeah, it was. So what the Senna one came out? What it was like 2013. It's been out for a long time. Is that right?
2010.
10, really? It did not feel like that old.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously we watched the Schumacher one first. You
Yep.
the same?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
I'm just
when
trying to
they
think what if I was to recommend what order to watch them in. That was probably good because it just touched like the Schumacher one. It touched on the Senna Schumacher rivalry, which had a lot of shades of like James Hunt, Nicky Lauda, and even now Verstappen, Hamilton. But then, yeah, going back, and like a lot of the footage crossed over, especially because they mentioned Senna's crash in the Schumacher documentary,
yep.
and they really focus on the Senna crash at the end of the Senna documentary. And it was eerie how all that sort of stuff crossed over. But yeah,
Yeah,
like how they so the
when
what
they showed
they really
Senna's crash in the Schumacher one, that's what made me go, "Oh wait, there's a Senna documentary. I need to go and watch that now."
I
So
didn't
then I
even
went
know
and
it was
watched
out.
that.
I didn't know it existed, man. I'm so glad I watched it. But yeah, like, so they focus on the Senna and Schumacher rivalry in or sort of in the Schumacher documentary,
Yep.
and they sort of do the same with in the Senna documentary with Senna and Prost, Alan
Yep.
Prost. And I was like, yeah, this is crazy, like how similar these two are.
Yeah, it was like the old guard getting taken over by the fresh new brash young guy, and
I'm a
everyone was
bit
like, "Oh, hang on."
disappointed in the Senna one. How little Schumacher got a run in the Senna one. Sort of only towards the end, they barely mentioned him.
Yeah, because I think
Because I
that
think, well,
was
it was a
Schumacher's
Schumacher's
first
first.
season, wasn't it?
It was his first season when Senna died.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, there was what a time Formula One racing was in the 80s and 90s.
It was a
Couldn't
scary sport back then. Like very
unbelievable.
limited safety requirements. Like
Yeah, it
Nuts.
was
It
weird.
was the Senna crash
In
that
the
brought in all the safety things.
yeah, it's crazy too that crash. When they showed the other driver, I forgot his name, died on the Saturday,
Mm.
and I couldn't remember what track the Senna died at, and I was like, hang on a minute, they're not about to build this up and have Senna die the day after. That is unbelievable. Two drivers died the same. Like, how was the meeting even allowed to like continue? I don't understand. Like they go and race, like
Yeah.
clear the track. Someone's dead in hospital and they race.
Yeah, so it was at San Marino, and it was just a
Yeah.
horrible weekend for the sport as a whole because there
There's
was
a lot of big crashes. Did Rubens Barrichello have a big crash too? I think
yeah,
he didn't die
On
though.
Friday, Rubens
On the
Barrichello had a
Friday,
massive crash,
yeah,
and that took him out of the race. Then Roland Ratzenberger, he died in the final
yeah, he's a
qualifying
died
on
on
the
Saturday.
Saturday. And then on the Sunday, there was the crash on the starting grid where one of the drivers stalled on the start line and
Stalled, yeah,
got taken out from behind.
doomed to start with.
And then 7 laps later, Senna crashes and dies basically
Crazy, crazy crash.
immediately.
But it was eerie too from the start of that documentary, knowing what happens to Senna going into it. Like from the start, when he first told his mum he wanted to go race F1, she like told him how dangerous it was and like pretty
Yep.
much said don't die. Then the whole way through, they sort of show him in interviews and whatnot saying he's because he was big on like into God and like God was saving him and like he always mentioned he'll be right and like he won't die and it was just like every time he mentioned that you're like oh
It's like
and
tempting
he
fate.
was really big on the safety and trying to change safety and yeah that happened pretty wild.
Yeah, because like he had that incident the season before where he got run off the road, so he rejoined on
Yeah,
the other side of the chicane and got basically disqualified because of it, which cost him the championship. And he was like, "Hang on,
see that I
that's just
found
the way you want me to
in
do
the
it is
Schumacher.
so unsafe. Like I shouldn't be turning
I
around and
love
going
the
back
rivalries,
towards the
man.
race."
Yeah, that's what they were saying. But I loved the rivalries. Like in the Schumacher documentary, it made you hate Senna and they like painted Schumacher as a hero, and they made you hate Senna. Then you
Yep,
watch the Senna documentary, and you're loving Senna, and he's this nice guy, and it makes you hate Alan Prost.
yep. And then yeah, like
It's just
in the Schumacher one, Senna does everything that Prost did to him. Basically, it was like, "What are you
yeah.
doing?"
I was like, this is uncanny.
Weird.
But it was a nice touch I found at the end of the Senna documentary. They showed footage of his funeral, and they got Prost up the front there carrying his casket.
Yep.
And they said what he's a funder or something of his
Yeah, patron of
Senna's
the
the
charity.
hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good.
but like that crash, like just insane. Like the documentary
At
basically
those
says like
speeds.
um it was like a true tragedy because if the materials that broke off the car, if they'd gone just an inch or two higher or lower, he'd have
Yeah, it was
survived. It was
the
just because they
steering
hit him in the
column.
face.
The steering column come through and hit him in the helmet, and they said he had no broken bones, no bruises, no cuts. It was just like trauma to the head.
Yep. And I was
And
looking
yes,
online, they were saying on the telemetry that they downloaded from the car afterwards, where he entered the corner at 309 kilometers an hour
yeah,
and
it's
then
unthinkable.
immediately starts braking as hard as he can and downshifting twice, but then still hits the concrete wall at 211 kilometers an hour.
It's nuts.
And yeah, it's like, and I read that they didn't declare him dead on the track, even though they probably should have based on the injuries that were visible to his head.
Well, when they interviewed the doctor, the Formula One doctor who was friends with Senna, he said when he was standing there over his body, he seen the moment he died. He
Yep.
like he could tell straight away. He's like, oh, he just like that's when he passed.
Yep. And yeah, like they apparently the reason they didn't declare him dead on the track is because if they had, then it immediately becomes a criminal investigation and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
has to stop and they have to turn it into a
I
crime
noticed they
scene.
do that a lot with stuff like that. That was the same with well, the driver that crashed the day before. They did the same. Who was
Yep.
I can't remember his name. He died in the IndyCar in Vegas. How many?
Oh,
It
yep.
wasn't too long ago.
I don't know the name, but I know the
That was
accident
the
you're talking
same.
about.
Yeah, crazy crash. Pretty sure Vegas IndyCars on this weekend. Crazy crash. But yeah, he was like clearly died and like from his injuries from the impact at the track. But yeah, they didn't declare him dead until at the hospital. So yeah,
Yeah,
I never really thought of it that way because of like it becomes essentially a crime scene, I guess.
yeah. So
But
immediately has to stop and be turned into a crime scene to be investigated properly. But because they,
whereas that IndyCar crash at Vegas, they like stopped everything. Then once the word got back that he had died, they didn't continue the race, but all the drivers decided to do like a big formation, like Victor Act, and get back out there, like in honor.
yeah, just like an
But
honor
I
lap.
don't think that would happen. If I don't like, not that it can happen, obviously, but if someone were to die in like motor racing today, they wouldn't be like continuing the meeting, so to
No,
speak.
yeah.
They wouldn't
I
be racing again. I think,
I
and
think
most
these days
people,
they'd be
most
like, okay,
drivers
let's
are
stop.
pretty precious these days anyway, and like out of respect, they wouldn't do it.
Like even a couple of
Whereas,
years ago with the crash that's on the F1 show. Can't remember who it was. The Man in the Fire episode. Like everyone just
not
sort of
Nicky Lauda.
stops. No, the modern one. It was like 2 years ago. Can't
Oh,
remember who it was.
Roman Grosjean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
Grosjean.
yeah,
Yeah,
everyone just kind of stopped and like, we're not
same
racing
thing.
again
Yeah,
until we know that he's okay.
exactly. Yeah. It just won't happen today.
So, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
I completely forgot about Grosjean's crash.
yeah,
That was only a couple of years ago.
at least that sort of
That
proves
was
that
just
there
pure
has
luck.
been.
Oh, that was luck. See, that was luck. Whereas Senna, 6 inches higher or 6 inches lower, that steering column, and he survives.
Yep.
Whereas where Grosjean, inches higher, inches lower, he's
He's gone.
dead.
Yep. And then he's just sitting
So
in fire.
yeah, buy your lottery tickets, I guess.
But yeah, like I guess that shows that there has been some very significant sort of improvements to the safety in the F1, but
Yeah,
still
I don't know if you
still a
caught
very
it.
scary sport.
Last race in the F1, where Verstappen rode up onto Hamilton's car, and there's an image going around of Verstappen's wheel on top of Hamilton's head, like on the halo of the car.
Ugh. Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
scary.
they're saying if that new halo rim around the cab wasn't there, it was Gornsky.
Yeah, true, because it would have just
So yeah,
been
they're
his head
different.
that took the impact,
Yeah,
not the actual car.
yeah,
Yeah, that's scary.
dangerous sport.
Yep. But yeah, back then it
They're
was
mad,
even
man.
worse. Like just
They've
nuts.
come
It
a
was
long
just
way. F1 seemed to come a long way in like mid 90s to early 2000s. All of a sudden went from that traditional like 70s, 80s, that old school car to all of a sudden it was just boom, the modern day car that we know.
yeah. Now they're
There
like
was big shifts. I think they touched on it. Was it Team Williams when they first started doing the computerized suspension systems, which it gets touched on in the Senna documentary, I believe.
yeah
And
they
like now
had
that's the normal thing, but back then they were getting disqualified for
yeah
it.
they had those like adjustable suspension and ABS and stuff, and they had it for a season,
Yeah.
and then they were deemed illegal, and now it's just normal.
Now it's
Now you have like
big
the
things.
Kers and all the crazy stuff. Now they're flying or upside down jet engines, basically.
They're incredible machines, man. They're so low to the ground too. Like the driver's seat is pretty much sitting on the ground. There's not
Yeah,
much between that and the tarmac. They're precious little things too.
yeah, and like I guess
Great sport.
now you see like the actual cockpit is like super tough and solid. Like if they crash now, that just everything explodes off the car, and then you just get this
Yeah.
solid shell.
Oh yeah. There's nothing left of it. This leads me to I was going to ask. Like, we've got Schumacher there. Obviously, Jordan, The Last Dance. The list goes on. Who would you want to see a sports documentary like high production made, past or present, athlete or team?
Ooh, that's tough. It's surely a Brady one
Yeah,
is coming at some point.
yeah, Brady would be good.
12 years,
There's so
still
many. There's so
dominating.
many you could name. Well, he's got 10 years left. Apparently, he reckons he's going to play when he's 50.
Yeah, okay. you'll die. You'll
Hey,
get
I
hit
actually,
into the line.
speaking of Brady, I've seen something just this afternoon. He's going to play this weekend his first ever game in LA.
Yep.
Apparently, he's played in 32 different cities, but he has never ever played in LA. That is incredible.
Yeah, I think because he's in the opposite conference, and it's like the
Yeah,
few
he
times
was.
that they
It
do
never
play
happened.
against
Yeah,
each
and
other,
LA haven't
it's always been
always had a team.
that's true. And then like the times that he has played
Yeah,
those teams, they've come
just
to
insane
Boston,
stat.
New
But yeah, I
England.
know we still need. I think we still need. We still deserve a proper Kobe documentary because I know cameras followed him around in his final season, so that's still coming.
Yep, Kobe would be cool. Trying to think who else we could get. Probably like um, a Mike Tyson one, maybe. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, Tyson Busy.
Lots to go
I
into
think
there.
people have tried with Conor McGregor too. I guess some small production things, but you just need big money. I think
Uh,
we deserve in Australia more behind the scenes content of our sporting teams.
yep.
It's such a market that's missed. Like we do get drip fed some stuff with some podcasts, and like the Tales of Tiger Town documentary that Fox Sports did, that was great. Like obviously, I loved it as a Tigers supporter, but I know friends that watched it and enjoyed it. Like it was good insight. So hopefully they do that again next year. Like, sort of like a Hard Knocks thing, but for
Yeah.
rugby league teams. It'd be brilliant.
Amazon had one with the AFL and stuff earlier this year as well.
Yeah, they did that, and they did the one for the Ashes.
Yeah, the Ashes one was really
Australian
cool.
cricket team,
That was
Amazon. Yeah. So it's such a everyone loves that sort of behind the scenes look at things. There needs to be more of it.
I'm trying to think what Australian athletes would be cool to do.
Paddy Mills.
Paddy Mills would be cool. The wheelchair Dylan Alcott, the wheelchair tennis player, that'd be a
Dylan
cool one.
Orcott, that'd be incredible. He's a bit of a jet setter. Maybe like someone like Sam Kerr as well.
Yeah, Sam Kerr, Sam Stosur. Like, there's plenty of Aussies that are doing great things at the moment.
Be curious. That'd be entertaining.
It'd be entertaining. Wouldn't be a lot of sport in that one though.
He's a big gamer, unless you if you consider gaming a sport.
Yeah. And you were
I
watching
like him.
another documentary as well,
Yeah, I did actually. The Bond
away
one.
from sport.
Being James Bond. I've
What did
seen
you
this
think?
pop up on our beloved Apple TV. I didn't really know what to expect of it. When I went to click on it, I know something went for like 45 minutes. Yeah, it was good. It's pretty much the way they did it. It was like a sit down, candid chat. They don't actually show you who's talking, but it's not like a chat between Daniel Craig, Michael G. Wilson, and Barbara Broccoli, who are the producers of James Bond. So
Yep.
they're just sitting down, I guess, in like an environment like this, and just chatting about his career from the start in the Bond movies. So it pretty much shows him from because he sort of when they first announced him as the new Bond, it was very controversial and everyone was against it. And it's almost like a rags to riches story, I guess, because everyone gave it to him. Then when Casino Royale came out, they're like, "Oh my god, this guy is a hunk. He's a he's a real deal." And he just skyrocketed into a household name from there. So yeah, it's good. It starts off yeah like that. His humble beginnings, like other movies he was doing, then sort of came out of nowhere as this Bond. Yeah, it ended up being it was a nice little piece they did. Yeah, it's 45 minutes, like a bit of a celebration of his time as Bond.
Did they
And
touch? Did they
he's
touch on his like I hate being James Bond comments a little while ago?
yeah, they did towards the end, and he sort of explains it, like what happened. It got taken out of proportion because I think that what he used is like asking a marathon runner as soon as they cross the line of marathon, do you want to run another marathon? And the instant reaction is like, hell no.
Hell no.
I couldn't think of anything worse. I could not think of anything worse right now. So I think they asked him at the end of filming Spectre,
Yep.
are you going to film another James Bond movie? Like the media run he did after that. And he's like, no, like this is the last thing I want to think about. Because I think it was in Spectre, he broke his leg early in the filming and he filmed most of the movie with a broken leg. and he was in a lot of pain. And yeah, like they say, ask him, "Oh, are you going to continue doing Bond?" And he's like, "That's the last thing I care about right now. Like, I just did this marathon filming for a movie. Like whatever happens, happens." But he ends up coming back for the new one that we're hopefully going to get soon, Bond 25.
Yeah, it's been
But
delayed
he's
a few times,
definitely
hasn't it?
yeah. I didn't realize he'd done five movies. Well, this is the fifth.
Yeah, well,
Like you obviously of like Casino Royale and like Skyfall, but then they've Quantum of Solace was in there, and yeah, Spectre. They're probably the two others, not so good ones, but yeah, Casino Royale and Skyfall, especially Skyfall, incredible movies. But I think they sort of say too with Quantum of Solace in this little documentary how they had a lot of weight on their shoulders and big shoes to fill from Casino Royale, such a popular movie,
yep.
and they sort of rushed the writing of Quantum of Solace just and they like started filming without having a script,
Nah,
basically,
that's
and they'll
never a good
make it up
idea.
as they go. No,
Never a good plan. That is.
yeah, I'm
That's
keen
a
to see this new Bond.
is he? Do
Is
you
it
know if
the?
he's
Is it
signed
going
on
to be
for
the
more, or
last
is
one?
his last one?
No, it's not. This is it. This is it.
This is his confirmed last one.
Yeah, this is it. And I have a feeling this is the last Bond movie.
Really? I would assume they're doing
I
more.
got. That's what I thought. I never really put much thought into it, but I got that vibe from the end of this little documentary.
Hmm. Interesting. Because yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to
I,
be proven wrong.
I'm just
Who would
wondering.
you
Like,
like to see as a new Bond?
yeah,
Because
that's
I
what I was
know
gonna say.
there was a there was a few actors in conversation for this one. Who did they have? Idris Elba,
Yeah.
Hugh
So
Jackman.
oh, I don't watch Hugh
Was
Jackman.
Hugh? Oh, Hugh Jackman got no. Maybe Hugh Jackman was in Casino Royale talks before, like to start the new era.
Okay, back
Yeah,
then, yeah, I
I
could
can.
see him being that. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah, for sure. Not this.
Idris Elba would be a
Yeah.
cool spin on it.
Well, there's actually been news pieces this week and bit of chatter online about a female Bond, but there's some things you just can't do, and a female Bond isn't one of them.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
think
what you half the thing about James Bond movies is the Bond girls. You can't, and you're not having a. I'm not having a Bond guy.
you don't want
There's
Bond
not going to
dudes.
be Bond guys. There's no Bond dudes, please.
They try and have
But and
Bond
it's
dudes. Everyone's
hard.
just gonna think of like undies.
Yeah, exactly. Bonds. Um, I don't know. It's hard to like. Daniel Craig is known now as James Bond. He wasn't really established as a role, whereas like now Daniel Craig is James Bond.
Yep.
Um, Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter. Where you couldn't really have, you have to pick carefully. You
Yeah,
can't have someone who's known
like
for a role.
Idris
Like
Elba's
Idris
cool,
Elba's
but
probably
yeah,
a good one. Yeah,
he has a lot
I
of.
know. Do you
He,
assign him to a particular role though? Not really. Hey.
not really. He's just a really great actor. Like I would happily see
Oh,
a black James Bond,
he's
like
the bull.
a
He's the
cool
bull
take.
from Zootopia, as far as I'm concerned. That's what I know him as.
It'll be
I don't
interesting
know.
to
Yeah,
see
who would
if
you like
we.
to see as Bond?
I
Who's
would like
like a
Idris. It'd be cool, or like a
Colin
Mahershala
Farrell?
Ali or something
Colin
as
Farrell's
well.
a
He'd
bit
be cool.
badass. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This Tom Hardy. Anyone?
Tom Hardy'd be another interesting one, but yeah, like he's got sort of established roles.
Cillian Murphy.
That'd be cool. That'd be
Yeah, it
cool.
would be cool actually. That is a good
Just
one.
as long as it's not like a Hemsworth or a Chris Evans or something. Just
Yeah.
nobody that's in Marvel, please.
Yeah. No, it'd be hard. Yeah,
We
it'd be
don't
interesting to
we
see
don't need a
what
Bond
direction
Marvel
they take.
crossover.
Yeah, this has got me thinking now. Who would be a good Bond? I'm going to dwell on this later.
John Cena. No,
Oh
not John Cena. Please.
no! Please no.
Like I like John Cena in comedies, but I don't want him to be James Bond, please.
Maybe an older. Would you go an older Bond or like a younger Bond?
I, like I think Idris sort of captures two things. Like he's a slightly
Yeah,
older Bond and he's a black Bond, which would be cool.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I can
I
see
know
probably
we
Black
just said
Bond.
we don't want a woman Bond, but I wouldn't be
Yeah,
shocked if
well
they
here you
go.
go. Who? What female? What female would you have as a Bond?
Oh, yeah, that's hard. I wouldn't be shocked if they go that route though. I don't know who it would be, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
Anne Hathaway would play a badass female Bond. Don't at me.
I'm trying to think who was in that.
She was good in Batwoman as Batwoman
Kate
in The
Blanchett would
Dark
be
Knight.
cool.
Kate Blanchett.
She's a great actress.
Yeah. You got to have a bit of badass about you, though. You got to be a little bit rough around the edges if need be to play a Bond.
True. Trying to think.
That's even got me thinking more. What female Bond you would have?
Yeah, I think if they went a female Bond, it'd have to be like someone that's pretty much unknown and just go right. No previous
Like a
ties
Gal
to
Gadot.
anything and like just bang.
Yeah.
Then Gal's just Wonder Woman and Bond, and that's too much power.
Yeah, but like
any
that
human being
sort
to
of
have.
vibe. Like she was unknown before Wonder Woman, wasn't she?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
On a similar front with you watching James Bond on Apple TV, I finally got around to watching the show that we talked about a few times, C, starring Jason Momoa.
Yes. This wasn't up my alley. I'm not a Jason Momoa guy.
Yeah, I'm not normally, but I do enjoy this show.
Was it? Did you say it's a show? Or it's a show.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi
Yeah.
series. 2 seasons are out now.
Yeah.
The main season 1 mainly focuses on Jason Momoa, and then season 2 they introduce Dave Bautista as his brother. I was like, oh, yep, that got me.
Just
They finally sold me with
couple of big boys.
just some real big dudes.
There's some big hombres.
And basically, it's like I said, it's a sci-fi show set in the 21st century after a virus sort of wipes out the majority of the human population, but the people that do survive are left blind. So everybody in the series
Bird Box.
is blind, except for there's a new generation of kids coming through that are being born with sight for the first time. But because everybody has got so used to everyone else being blind, these kids are sort of looked at as like pariahs and witches. So they're hunted down by
Wow.
the blind people, basically. Like,
This actually sounds cool.
yeah, like
judging a book by its cover because it's got Jason Momoa in it. It sounds sick.
That was my problem too. I was like, I don't really like Jason Momoa. Like, Aquaman wasn't great, so I'm not super keen on it. But
that's what I was thinking of.
I watched this and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Especially like the action fights and sequences. Wow. They take this to a whole new level. Like, it's super gory, super like stylized and everything, and just crazy fights. Like, just watching those scenes, I was like, okay, I'm in it just for these scenes. Like, every time there's a fight, I'm like,
when's it set? Current day? Post-apocalyptic?
Post-apocalyptic, so like it's all like forest.
So
there's no like big cities.
So August 2021.
Pretty much. My big issue is the hour-long run times can sort of get a little bit long in the tooth, especially in the second season where there's so much story baked in after all this time that it gets a little bit convoluted and hard to follow at times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty keen. They've already, before season 2 started airing just a couple of months ago, they've already said that season 2 is coming. And they
so it's only got 1 season now?
2.
So
season 1, just Jason Momoa. Season 2, they had Dave Bautista. Season 3, they began working on this year, and that'll probably come out next year or year after. So 3 seasons. Worth checking out. I think if you watch the first maybe 2 episodes, that's enough to sort of get a vibe for what the story is, and you'll see a couple of crazy action sequences, and it's like, oh yeah, they'll probably sell you on it.
Yeah, that sucks you in. Yep.
And then the last thing I checked out was a horror movie called The Old Ways.
What do you think of this one? I watched it too.
I thought it was enjoyable, but didn't really do anything groundbreaking or push
Yeah,
the
it was a weird
genre
one.
or the story of like an exorcism to a new level. Like it really could have
Yeah, it was a
it could
bit
have
of a
done a lot more.
joke, hey. It was a bit of a joke. Oh, I didn't know. You know, like in horror movies when there's like a bit of an excessive amount of like swearing and coarse language, you know, it's a bit of a piss take.
Yep.
This is one of them. I was like, oh, I can't really take this serious now. There's too much swearing in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know. It was that lead actress, just awkward character. I don't know. She was. I wasn't sure what genre this was going to be. That's what I'm trying to say. It was a bit all over the place. And
Yeah. It
acting
was
was
it
pretty
was trying to
poor.
be a horror, but then it was trying to also be
It
like,
wasn't dark enough to be a horror. Like, and it was, I don't know, just you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the cinematography and what. It just wasn't dark enough to be a horror. Where it
yeah,
tried to be scary, but it wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I had the right idea.
it's
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 almost
trying to
felt like
be.
a Scooby Doo movie.
Yeah, fair enough. It's kind of like it felt like it was trying to be like the South American twist on The Exorcist, but it
Yeah,
didn't get to the true scariness of The Exorcist. And
it
then
just didn't get there, eh?
some of the
Was it
like,
dubbed too?
no, it was English,
No,
but yeah, it
it
was
wasn't.
like,
I can't
and
remember.
just like
Yeah.
some of the visual effects just took me out of it too. Like when they're like digging
Yeah.
into her side and stuff, I was like, that could have
Yeah,
been
what
like,
was going
that
on there?
could have been so much more graphic and just like disturbing, and it just wasn't.
But it made it. I wasn't believable. I was like, oh, what the hell? Like, how is that just happening?
Yeah, it just pulled me out of it.
Yeah, I know that. They sort of had the right idea for bits and pieces, but they sort of half-assed everything to put together this monstrosity. Oh, like you said, it was enjoyable. Like it wasn't non-watchable. Like I finished it and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, but I couldn't tell you what genre it was, or I wouldn't recommend anyone to watch it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think if like there's obviously elements in there where they're dealing with the supernatural exorcism, but then they also like have hints to like she's got trauma from her childhood. There's also like the elements of drug addiction in there as well. And I was like, let's dive into that more as play off that's this supernatural horror movie, but then
Yeah, I need a backstory.
have the actual demons be her drug abuse, but they never like
Yeah.
went deep enough into that. And I was like, oh, we kind of lost it there. And then that made the payoff at the end a little bit just like, oh, that was
It
pretty
was I was
dud
cool.
finish.
I like the ending though. It was cool how they sort of and she's like to start all over again, and how she was like the new Messiah, and she sort of took over the thing. So it like gives you like a bit of an idea of what the whole story was about. So that was like a cool little touch at the end.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones where I think if they had a bit more budget and a bit more time to sit and work on the writing, it could have been a whole different level of awesome. But yeah, just fell flat for me.
I'm just
All right.
checking now. Alexander Volkanovski results. I think he's just won.
Nice. Awesome.
Or is he
Is this
still fighting? I'm trying to. Oh,
mm,
Conor. I've just found a. Here we go. I just found a Conor McGregor tweet.
okay.
I kicked this Volovsky. He says Volovsky's head off like it was a rugby ball I was kicking. 5'4" and full of muscle. Ha ha. Little fart he is. Not even a little fart. A shart. Ha ha ha. Jackass. Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Okay, a Volkanovski
Did you?
McGregor fight would be huge. We need that.
Volko would kick his ass, I reckon. Did you see Conor McGregor's first pitch at the Cubs game the other day?
Oh my god, atrocious. He
It
missed.
had a bit behind it. And it
He
wasn't the worst. Fuck it. It was just went.
he threw it hard, but he had no accuracy. He was just like, oh, you missed by a mile. But
Reminded me of everyone's like, oh, this is the worst one ever, but nah, 50 Cent. He's just disgraceful.
there's so much pressure being like doing the first ceremonial first
Unbelievable.
pitch. It's just like, oh
I
no,
think you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to throw it to the catcher. There's
just
nothing. You just got to
make the
just like
distance
you
and make it
just
straight.
boom.
You don't have
Just
to
don't
go out
embarrass
there and throw a
yourself.
100-mile-an-hour
People,
fastball.
honestly, people aren't expecting you to pitch the ball. You just got to throw it from A to B and not embarrass yourself. Don't
Yeah,
try too hard.
just don't embarrass yourself. Just hit the target, no bounces. Sweet.
Yeah, it's such a cool tradition over the first pitch. it'd be cool to do if we had something like that in Australian sport. Like if
Well,
they got someone to bring out like the ball in a test match or something.
I just like Boxing Day
Potential.
test match, first ball. You get to just bowl it and try and hit the stumps.
Yeah, Warney does it every year.
That'd be cool. What is your top recommendation for the week?
Oh man, I'm a big fan of Senna.
Yep, that's mine
Big
too.
fan.
That was my pick.
100%. It was really, like I said, I really enjoyed the Schumacher one. Then I watched this Senna one, and I left it when I stopped watching when it was finished. I was blown away. I was like, that was incredible,
Yep. Yeah, if you watch
incredible.
the Schumacher one, you've got to follow it up
Very,
with Senna.
oh,
Got to
Senna
watch
was
both.
so well. It was so well put together. Like so much good footage, and it was like a really good story. Whereas like the Schumacher one had bits and pieces sort of missing. It was a bit rushed and put together, and it was a bit fabricated. The Senna one was genuinely good story.
Yeah, I think because the Schumacher one was so involved with his family, it kind of felt
Yeah, because
sterile. Like
and it is,
they didn't
and
want to
there
go
is
into
so
any
much
of
unknown.
the darkness.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's fair. But yeah, I
Alrighty.
watched it on Apple TV, and what did you watch it on Stan? But it's around. I think it might be on Amazon too.
Yeah, I know. Just I've got Stan, so it was just on there, and that was free and easy to
Yeah,
watch. Alrighty, thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services, YouTube, and here on twitch.tv/Jamie Apps Media. Watch us live. You can follow me on social media at Jamie Apps Media, and you can follow Blake on Twitter at Captain Crumbs with a Z. The commentary booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. Just hit our monthly goal, so I'm doing a monthly exclusive review over there. And the following people supported at the Jam publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support: Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Jackson Carr, and Tracy Apps. Awesome. That's the show. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.